There is nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. Ernest Hemingway.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Leigh Estes.
And today we are going to engage in an epic battle of pen versus keyboard.
And the pen's totally going to win, right?
No, not at all.
But I write with pen.
It's slow, archaic. If you want to feel like a scribe back in the 1100s copying books, that's fine. Anyway, so back to more serious things.
No, we're not going to be serious at all this episode.
Not at all. This is an epic battle where we fight for what's right.
Which is the pen.
Keyboards. Really, on a serious note, it is truly up to the writer what they prefer on using keyboards, pen, typewriter if you feel like being a hipster.
Typewriters are so slow. Sorry.
Yeah, they're even slower than the pen. It's great. So,
between us, which has written more books?
Shh.
So really, which is faster?
The keyboard.
The pen has gotten a lot more done.
Anyway, why do you prefer writing with a pen?
My biggest hindrance in writing with a keyboard is accessibility to my story. If we finish recording early today and I want to be able to write, I can just pick up my little binder. I don't have to worry about what's charged or what's not. Go to the coffee shop down the street and just sit down and write.
I disagree. It makes sense, but at the same time, with the rampance of technology, I can sit there and write on my phone. So as long as I have my phone and a somewhat decent data connection, I can just type away and throw down some ideas and then tighten it up later.
Yes, but on my phone, I also have Sudoku and Facebook. If I'm writing, I want to be able to just focus on my writing. So that means putting away the technology, having that espresso shot over ice cream that coffee shop over there does really well, and just writing. Disconnecting from the technology is an exhale in today's society. And that's what writing really should be.
Yeah.
Plus, okay, maybe it's just me, but I'm not always great about charging stuff.
Yeah, I am very much reliant on my technology, so my stuff's always charged. One of the things that I really prefer about using a keyboard, using a computer to type up my stories right away, is that there's no second step in the process of just getting it written the first time around. I write it all on the page, there it is, it's good to go, and then I can send it to my alpha readers, they can get it right away, and I don't have to try to translate bad handwriting that even you struggle to read.
My handwriting is perfect in every way. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, chicken scratch, I think my chickens could write better.
Les actually thinks that my handwriting is in Klingon.
Actually, that's a really good point.
But typing it up ends up being part of my editing process. So as I'm handwriting it, I know no one else is going to read it. No one else is going to judge it. I am going to write selfishly because I am the only one who can read it. And then as I'm typing it up, I am also editing and going, wait, this doesn't connect here, and I can type that up and make those changes during the editing process. The pen forces me to slow down and think, as compared to just vomiting words on a page, which is helpful in NaNoWriMo. We are in November.
I really struggle writing on a pen. My writing style, despite how much it probably shouldn't be, very much includes editing along the way. Minor editing, in the sense that if I write a sentence and decide I don't like that particular sentence, I can go back and just get rid of it on a keyboard. When I write on a piece of paper, I have pages of things that are just scratched out and destroyed because I'll write a paragraph and then be like, oh wait, no, that's not in that character's personality, let me fix it. But if I'm doing that on a keyboard, I'm not wasting things like trees.
When I'm writing by hand, if I don't quite know the right word that I want, I will put in a synonym and circle it, and then I can just move on and keep telling this story. I'm not backspacing and moving forward and wait, I want to rephrase that. I am forced to continue with what I have and forced to edit later. When I type on a keyboard, I have that habit of going back and wanting to rephrase.
But there's something that you don't have to deal with a lot. World building.
I do. I maybe, okay. Not in my published works. I'll give you that. But in my other works that don't ever see the light of day, I do world build, but I am a plotter. So it's a lot easier for me to go, okay, this is what needs to be revealed for my story.
My biggest thing is that with world building, because I am usually writing intricate fantasies where I need an entire outline for just my world building aspects, that's really hard to do on just a pen and paper, because I will end up having stacks of papers and binders just surrounding me at that little coffee shop, and I'll look like a maniac.
More than normal.
Yeah, even more than normal. But if I have it all just on my computer, I can have a couple documents open all at the same time. Okay, how exactly did that magic system work? Okay, it works like this. And then just go back through and make sure that it's seamless transition so that the editing process isn't as bad later. I don't have to struggle in my second go around because things already flow
so much in your first go around.
Yeah. But it's easier to do that on a keyboard than to do that with a pen.
See, when I have my spiral binder and my blue pen, because I like a particular pen when I write, because I'm that person, the last few pages in that binder are my notes. They are my outline. I can write my notes as ideas come to me. At the stoplight, I can lean over and go, oh, this needs to happen, and jot that in the last few pages, and then I can write the whole thing from front to back.
Do you know how much work that is? Where you're like writing, and then you have to flip, and then you have to go back and write and flip and write. Counter on the computer, I can have my little pages open up right next to each other and just look and type. I don't even have to look at what I'm typing. I can just read in my outline and be like, yeah, that's what I need to do with this particular piece of magic.
So you're submitting to me that outlines are better.
World building outline. World building notes. I'm not submitting anything about plotting, pantsing rules.
So there is something that we in the writing world call the white page syndrome, which you don't get when you're writing with pen because it's not a physical white page. And that is you're staring at that blinking cursor and a completely blank page. And it can get very intimidating to do it right the first time with that little blinking cursor haunting you. When you write by pen, the page is just inviting you to fill it out.
Yeah, but you know what's easier with a keyboard when that happens? Word vomit that you can delete when you realize how bad it is.
See, that's what happens when you translate it to the page, to the keyboard. During your editing process.
Yeah, but then that makes your editing process so much more difficult.
It really doesn't.
Another huge benefit, there is a limit to how fast I can write and still be able to read my writing. Leigh, that being the key word, being able to read my writing.
You learn to eventually. I have whole shapes and symbols that make the THE
that look nothing like the standardized THE of English.
But that's why I'm so much faster at my writing, because it's its own character.
But I bet I could way outstrip you in pace when I'm on my keyboard.
Okay, let's look at my word count for the last year. Let's look at your word.
Shh. Shh. Don't bring up my word count. That is not in relation to this argument. I know my word count is terrible, but that is on me, not on the keyboard, which is the greater and faster way to write. I gotta have some faster way to catch up with my lack of writing in general.
But that is one of the things that I prefer about a pen, and some people prefer about the keyboard, is the thought process to output ratio. It forces me to slow down when I'm writing by hand. And I need to think about how I want to phrase this. And my pen doesn't have to lift off the page before I figured out how to answer that question.
But what happens when you're in that moment where you're in that groove and the thoughts and phrases are just flowing and it's amazing and you know exactly what you're going to write and your hand cannot keep up with your brain?
That's when I need to be forced to slow down the most.
Why? You just get all those words out on the paper, you type it up, you go real fast, and it's there and it's glorious and amazing because you actually just wrote instead of stopping.
There is no stopping with the pen. It's...
Yes, there is. Don't lie to me. You stop.
Not nearly as much as you do.
Shh. That's on me, not on the keyboard. I will keep saying that.
In all seriousness, everybody has their own style. Knowing your own style is the key to this.
Part of why I prefer the keyboard is the environments that it allows me to be in when I write. I write better when I'm at home, alone, surrounded by nothing, just blasting my music. And so your chosen medium kind of depends on where you write best, which we will be talking about in our next episode as well, where we're discussing how to find the right location for you. But where you write will partially determine how you write, whether you use that pen or that keyboard. We've banteringly talked about why we prefer the pen or the keyboard. Really, I have no problem writing with a pen.
And I inevitably end up writing on a keyboard every time.
So find what works for you. Find what helps you channel the muse and get into the groove of things. Later on in this month, we'll be kind of talking about how to draw inspiration, how to help you focus those energies no matter what tools you use along the way.
Whether you're writing with a pen or a keyboard, it is important to remember one thing.
Write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.